everyone, I'm David Celdran, your quiz master, and welcome to Bilyonaryo Quiz B, College Edition, the quiz show that's setting a new standard for intellectual competition. And with every sharp answer, exceptional college students from all over the country get closer to winning the grand prize of 1 million pesos. That's right. Now, waiting backstage is a trio of hardworking students who are eager to showcase their smarts and claim a spot in our next semifinals. So, let's bring them out. Contestant number 1 is a 20-year-old agricultural and biosystems engineering student who dreams of using her knowledge to uplift rural communities. In fact, she's actively involved in community service and youth leadership as a Sangguniang Kabataan official. Everyone, let's welcome Nueva Vizcaya State University's Marimar Olaya. Welcome, Marimar. Take your place on your podium. Let's meet our next contestant. That's right, next up is a 20-year-old mechanical engineering major with a passion for making education accessible to Filipino youth. When he's not solving equations, you'll find contestant number 2 dancing, playing sports, or just flipping through his Polaroid collection. Interesting. Let's give a round of applause for UP Diliman's Crispino Alvarado. Hello, Chris. Welcome to BQB. And finally is an 18-year-old freshman, really young, who rose above personal tragedy to put himself on the path to becoming a certified public accountant and an entrepreneur. Contestant number 3 is a self-confessed introvert who likes to lead through quiet determination and through academic excellence. Let's all clap our hands for University of Baguio's Keenth Joshua Malaga. Hello, Keenth, and welcome to BQB. All right, 2 rising academic stars from up north are facing off against a peer who studies in Quezon City but is originally from Davao City. So it's up north against down south in today's competition. That's right, we've got the country's best right here in our impressive lineup. Now, let's see who rises to the Bilyonaryo Quiz B challenge. As always, before the games begin, we take a brief look at the BQB competition mechanics. Let's listen in. Today's elimination episode will consist of 3 rounds of collegiate-level questions. The first 2 rounds will cover history, science and technology, arts and literature, math and logic, geography and nature, and general information. Contestants must listen very carefully as I read each question out loud. Remember, only the viewers at home have the benefit of reading them on screen. After round 2, the contestants with the highest score will advance to the final bonus round, while 2 with the lowest scores will be eliminated. Let's break down the mechanics of round 1. There are 12 questions worth 1,000 pesos each. The first contestant to buzz gets to answer. Correct answers earn points, while incorrect answers give the remaining opponents a chance to steal. Let's see who can outsmart and outbuzz their opponents in round 1 of the Bilyonaryo Quiz B. All right, those are the rules. We'll have a chance to chat with our contestant later on in the second round, but for now, let's start with our first round of questions. These are somewhat easy questions, but listen in, contestants. After buzzing in, you must wait for me to acknowledge you before you can give your answer, okay? Otherwise, you forfeit your chance, and of course, that will be unfortunate. Let's begin by testing your buzzers, making sure it's working. Marimar, let's start with you. That's working. Chris, your buzzer. All right, be careful with that. We got 2 rounds. Keenth. Now, those are heavy-duty buzzers. Buzz it any which way you want to, okay? What's important is you're quick, you're first, and of course, you get to answer correctly. So let's begin with round number 1. As usual, we have 6 categories. Let's begin with history. For 1,000 points. What Philippine symbol was created at number 535 Morrison Hill Road in Hong Kong back in 1898? Think of a Philippine symbol created, designed. Chris?
The sun.
Was it the sun, the Philippine sun? No? Yeah.
Philippine eagle.
Was it the Philippine eagle? No, it was not. Marimar, give it a shot.
The star.
You had the star, you had the sun. Yung kulang na lang dyan yung Philippine flag. It was the Philippine flag that was designed in Hong Kong. That's right. It was a national flag, the same flag that we have today. And it was also called the Aguinaldo flag, or just the national flag. It was at the home of Felipe and Marcela Agoncillo, where that flag was sewn it was created. Okay? Remember that next time you see the Philippine national flag. Let's go to our next question. Is in science and technology. It's a popular type of barcode, the QR code. What does the letter Q in QR mean? Chris?
Question.
Is it the question? No.
Quarter.
Quarter or quarterly? No, Marimar, no, it's wrong. Keenth, your chance to answer. Any Q? What comes to mind? Q.
Q. Q po as in line.
Quick is the answer. Quick. All right, so everyone's still at 0. Let's try question number 3 for the first 1,000 points. In classical architecture, this is arts and literature. In classical architecture, the 3 major orders of Greek columns are Doric, Ionic, and what elaborate one named after a Greek city? There are 3 types of columns. Doric, Ionic, what is the third one? The more elaborate one. Time is up, but just curious if you had an answer, Marimar.
Gothic.
Gothic is not correct. It's actually Corinthian, named after the Greek city Corinth. All right, let's go to our next question. This will be in math and logic. What term describes a real number that cannot be expressed as a quotient of 2 integers? All right, Chris.
Irrational number.
Irrational number is correct. Let me just finish the question. What term describes a real number that cannot be expressed as a quotient of 2 integers or in the form of a fraction? It is irrational. All right, next question. Geography and nature. Because it is home to a number of active volcanoes, what Philippine island province is called the island born of fire? Chris?
Batangas.
Batangas is wrong. Yes, Keenth.
Taal.
Taal. Island province. Taal is not a province. Marimar, it's all yours.
Albay.
Good try. The correct answer is Camiguin. Camiguin Island. That's in Mindanao. Both of you should have known that. That's in your part of the country. Let's go to our next question. General information. Released in 1974, what tabletop creation or board game has been dubbed the grandfather of modern role-playing games, RPG? Chris?
Dungeons and Dragons.
That is correct. D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. The grandfather of all role-playing games. Now everything is digital. Let's go to our next question. History. In 1998, what became the first Muslim country to officially become an armed nuclear power? It's also known as the land of the pure. What country? First Muslim country. Keenth?
Iraq.
Is it Iraq? No. Marimar?
Iran.
Iran. All very close, literally, geographically, and also. Chris?
Israel.
Israel's not a Muslim country. Okay. It is Pakistan. Okay, Pakistan, very close. Iran and Iraq, although there are suspicions about their armed nuclear program, they are not armed nuclear powers, although Iran has nuclear power, but not warheads. It's actually Pakistan with 170 armed or nuclear arms in their arsenal. All right, let's go to our next question. Science and technology. Now this time I'll require a full name for the answer, a person's name. Originally posted online in 2023, the first popular benchmark for AI video generators is a clip of what American celebrity eating spaghetti? Chris?
Will Smith.
Will Smith or Willard Smith, that's his real name. Yes, that's correct. The Hollywood actor Will Smith. Have you seen those videos? AI generated videos? And the latest one for 2025 is really amazing. It looks really almost real compared to the original ones. That's right. 2025 version is by Google AI. It looks freakishly real. Let's go to our next question. Arts and literature again. Looking for a Filipino director who won the Best Director Award at the 2009 Cannes Film Festival for the film Hinatay. Who directed that Cannes award-winning film Hinatay? Chris?
Cathy Molina.
Cathy Molina is wrong. Marimar?
James Yap.
James Yap. Okay, no. Keenth?
Daryl Yap.
Daryl Yap. No. That is, I think that was the director you were talking about, Daryl Yap. James Yap is a basketball player, right? Daryl Yap is the young director. It's Brillante Mendoza, and I think he's from Davao, if I'm not mistaken. Brillante Mendoza. Okay, next question. Math and logic. I will read the question twice because this may require some computation. A shirt originally cost 800 pesos. It's now on sale for 25% off, discounted 25% off. What is the discounted price of the shirt? Chris?
600 pesos.
That is correct. 25% of 800 times 800 is 200 pesos. So you minus that, come up with 600 pesos. That was quick, Chris. Very good. Question number 11 in our first round. So far, Chris has 4,000. Keenth, Marimar, come on. It's time to bounce back in this competition for an extra 1,000 pesos. Geography and nature. What state capital and major city on Australia lies in the same time zone as Manila in the Philippines? Chris?
Sydney.
Sydney is, nope, not right. Keenth?
Melbourne.
That's also wrong. That's in the same time zone as Sydney. Time is up. The answer is Perth, the city of Perth, which is the capital of Western Australia state. Let's go to our final question. This one's in general information. Okay. In the language of sports, the love or zero score in tennis comes from the French word for what? Chris?
Zero.
Zero is wrong. We're looking for the French word for what? Zero is love in tennis. But what is the French word for it? Marimar?
Zero with
No.
H.
No. Keenth?
TM. TM.
DM? No. The correct answer is l'œuf. That's French for the egg. Because zero is like an egg, right? Egg, zero. Love is the English name for it that we give to it. But the original French is l'œuf, or the egg. Itlog. Zero. Speaking of itlog, Marimar and Keenth, you got zero at this point. I mean, come on, we have one more round coming up. You'll have more chances to catch up with Chris. Chris has 4,000, but you know what, Chris? That is not a comfortable lead. Because in our next round, it's 2,000 pesos, 2,000 points for every correct answer. Now, if you thought that was a dazzling display of knowledge, you're going to want to be here when Bilyonaryo Quiz B returns, because round 2 will be kicking things up a notch. That is up next. Stay where you are. Welcome back to Bilyonaryo Quiz B, the ultimate challenge for mental athletes and for trivia lovers. Now, after an exciting round 1, our promising college students have the following money points in their balance. Chris is on top with 4,000 points. He had 4 correct answers. Marimar and Keenth still have no correct answer, but that's okay, Marimar, Keenth, because in our next round, it's going to be 2,000 pesos for every correct answer. Just 2 correct answers, and you are tied with Chris, and who knows what happens after that. All right? All right. Let's start off our round by just getting to know our contestants a little bit more. Let's start off with Marimar. Let me guess, Marimar, you were named after that popular TV telenovela, weren't you?
Yes po.
I was right. Which version? Was it the Talia version, or was it the version
think-
of Marian Rivera?
I think it's Marian Rivera version.
Okay. You never asked your mom why she gave you that name?
I asked, but sabi po niya hindi galing kay mama, galing po sa lolo ko. ng
Okay.
pangalan.
Fan pala si Lolo ng Marimar. Well, I'm sure he's very proud of you, okay?
Yes.
You're doing beautifully in school, you're doing beautifully in your community. So tell us about that, Marimar, because you know, I'm amazed. Someone so young as you juggling your community work as SK official, at the same time doing fantastic in NVSU. So how do you balance those 2 very important things in your life?
Actually, it's not that easy po. So, but one thing is that you should know your priorities and responsibilities as a student and as a public servant.
Very well said. Marimar, we're very proud to have you here on Bilyonaryo Quiz B. Great to have young leaders like you here on our show. Let's move on to Chris, who's from UP Diliman. He's in the lead with 4,000 points. You know, Chris, we were like kind of like amazed at this line that you gave us during the pre-interview. I think it goes something like, emotional intelligence grounded in malasakit carries us further and farther than just intellect. So EQ over IQ, especially in our age of AI, right? Where information is immediately available. Why did you say that?
I feel like yung answer ko, it comes from the fact that a lot of the organizations I'm affiliated in college are mostly service-oriented. And that's a college life na na-envision ka na for myself back in high school pa. Because I think it's one thing to focus in your academics and have good grades, but it's also fulfilling to take part in a project or an initiative that has its beneficiary or community that it gives an impact on.
Well,
So,
nice to know a lot of young people still think like you. Thank you so much, Chris. And let's move on to Keenth. Very interesting name as well. Keenth, you know, we were doing some research earlier. Wala kayong mahanap na Keenth on the internet. Any other Keenth on the internet? May Kenneth, may Kian, may Keanu, obviously. But Keenth, saan galing yan?
My mom was the one who named it, but I did not ask where is the inspiration or where it come from po.
And you also never had a chance to because your mom passed away. Sorry to hear that.
Yes.
But what's amazing is that you're here, you're confident, you're doing well in school, and you call yourself an introvert, pero nandito ka, no?
Yes.
Give us some tips how to overcome adversity, overcome challenges, especially personal tragedies such as yours.
It is important to surround yourself with people who support you and love you. And for me po kasi my mindset is like I have received a second chance because parang I have a higher mission. Like God has a plan for me and for my life po. Ganun.
That second chance when you survived that accident
Yes.
where your mom passed away.
Yes.
Again, sorry to hear that.
Okay.
But of course, we're very proud of you, and I'm sure she's looking from above, so proud of you. And you talk about surrounding yourself with people you love. You're part of our BQB family. We love you,
Yes.
Keenth. We love you, Chris. We love you, Marimar. This is your home, okay?
Yes.
So let's start our final round, round number 2, 2,000 points each. Let's listen in to our mechanics. In round 2, the game mechanics remain the same, but the questions are now more difficult and worth 2,000 pesos each, except for the Bilyonaryo Booster question, which is worth an exciting 4,000 pesos. No wagers, no penalties, just a big-time boost to get our contestants nearer the Bilyonaryo Quiz B finish line. At the end of this round, the 2 contestants with the lowest scores will be eliminated, leaving one weekly winner to advance to the bonus round and a slot in the semifinals. If round 2 ends in a tie, the game goes into a sudden death tiebreaker, where the first contestant to answer correctly wins. So get ready, contestants. May the Bilyonaryo Quiz B odds be in your favor. And good luck as well. Here goes round number 2. Let's begin with history and specifically about pioneers, okay? Named for the ship or after the ship that brought them to Manila in 1901, what group of teachers formed a major pillar of the American public school system? Keenth?
Thomas Sites.
I told you, Keenth. Just takes one question and you're back in the running with 2,000 points. Let me finish that question. What group of teachers formed a major pillar in the American public school system back then in the Philippines? These were the Thomasites, the group of teachers named after the ship, the USS Thomas, which sailed from San Francisco to the Philippines. All right, let's go to question number 2. Science and technology. We're looking at animal senses, okay? Also known as biosonar. What technique is used by bats and dolphins to determine, Chris?
echolocation.
Echolocation is the correct answer. Bats and dolphins to determine the position of objects with reflected sound. It is echolocation, correct. Let's go to our next question. Arts and literature, visual arts for 2,000 points. What famous painting shows an overturned salt container that may symbolize betrayal? Some say it symbolizes betrayal. Very famous masterpiece. Keenth.
The Last Supper.
You are correct, The Last Supper, or Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper. Before you know it, Keenth, you have 4,000 points, Chris has 6,000. Marimar, time to come in back into the game. Let's go to question number 4. What is defined as the instantaneous rate of change of a function with respect to a variable? Chris
Derivative.
is correct, or differentiation would have been correct as well. Very good. Question number 5. Geography and nature. We're looking at bodies of water flowing a distance of almost 5,000 kilometers. What is the longest river in South? Keenth?
Nile River.
Wrong. Chris?
Amazon River.
Wrong. Let me finish the question, Marimar, because you'll know what the answer is after I finish my question. You guys are a bit too early. Flowing a distance of almost 5,000 kilometers. What is the longest river in Southeast Asia and the 12th longest in the world? So it's located in Southeast Asia. Try it. Just try.
Tigris River.
Oh no, that's, well, it's not in Southeast Asia, that's in West Asia. No, the Mekong or Mekong River, which runs through China, Myanmar. It also flows through Laos, Thailand, Cambodia, and most famously in Vietnam because of the Vietnam War. All right, let's go to our next question. Let's move over to general information. We're looking for words and phrases here. What did the Oxford University Press pick as its 2024 word or phrase of the year? A slang term, this is a slang term for supposed mental damage done by over-consuming. Chris?
Brain rot.
Brain rot is the correct answer, yes. Mental damage done by overconsumption of superficial online content. Next question. Historic figures. Before his public execution in 1907, who shouted, in Filipino of course, "I must tell you that we are not bandits as the Americans accuse us, but members of the revolutionary force that defended our country. Long live the Philippines." Which hero said that? In 1907. That gives you a clue. Marimar, yeah? Go ahead.
Douglas MacArthur.
No, that's not correct. It was Macario Sakay, okay? Macario Sakay said, "Long live the Philippines." He was a Filipino general who joined the 1896 revolution, one of the last to hold out against the Americans in the Philippine-American War. All right, question number 8. But let me just remind Keenth and Marimar, although you are behind Chris, we still have 4 more questions left, 2,000 points each. One of them actually worth 4,000 pesos because it's a Bilyonaryo booster question. Let's go to our next question in astronomy. In what planet is there a crater named in honor of Filipino teacher and social worker Josefa Llanes Escoda? What planet? Just name the planet. Keenth.
Mars.
Mars is not correct. Marimar?
Venus.
You got it. Venus is correct for 2,000 pesos. You know why? Why it's Venus? You know, in Venus, they actually name, surface features and craters after prominent women from planet Earth, obviously. Why? Because Venus was a female god, okay? Let's go to our next question. Arts and literature. We're looking for a great artist or great artist. And by the way, this is a Bilyonaryo booster question for 4,000 pesos. You get this right, Keenth. You get this right. You're closer to Chris, Marimar. You get closer to everyone else. Let's try this one. With a career spanning 75 years, what prolific artist once boasted, "Give me a museum and I will fill it"? Name a great painter. Chris?
Leonardo da Vinci.
He was the type who would have said that, but I don't think they had museums back then. Anyone else? Keenth?
Vincent van Gogh.
He wasn't the type to say that, but that's a good try. Marimar, name a prolific artist, a great artist, for 4,000 pesos. Yeah.
Brunelleschi.
Brunelleschi, the Renaissance architect, designer. No, it was Pablo Picasso. Pablo Picasso. I thought you would know that. One of the more popular artists, regardless of what he said. Nevertheless, he created over 50,000 works of art during his lifetime. And that's because you have his art, obviously, all over the museums in the world. All right, next question. Question number 10. I'll read the question twice because it's in mathematics, but this is usually just mental math, okay? Anna is twice as old as Isabel. If the sum of their ages is 45, how old is Anna? Again, no need to ask that question again. Chris?
30 years old.
She is 30 years old. You are good in mathematics, Chris. Mental math. If the sum of their ages is 45, how old is Anna? She would be 30 years old. And Isabel would be?
15.
15 years old. Very good. Next question. Geography and nature. Specifically, geography and history. What Southern American state, so this is in Americas, okay? What Southern American state was known in the 18th century as Nuevas Filipinas or New Philippines? What Southern American state, as in the United States, in the south of the United States? Keenth.
Texas.
You got it. Texas is correct for 2,000 points. That's right. Interesting trivia, right? Before becoming part of the USA, of course, Texas was under the control of Spain and Mexico afterwards, and the Spaniards called it Nuevas Filipinas, New Philippines. Amazing. Named after the country, our country. And for our last question, will this have any bearing? I'm afraid not, but of course it will matter in terms of how much money you take home today. So let's go to our final question for 2,000 pesos. In venture capitalism, a startup company with a value exceeding $1 billion is given what fabulous name? What do you call a startup company with a value of more than $1 billion? People give this name to that company. It's a fabulous name, fantastical name. Named after a mythical creature. Time is up. Unicorn. Unicorn. So if you were Keenth, I know you want to be a businessman, entrepreneur, and if you were to have a business in the future worth $1 billion, they would call your company a unicorn. But of course, Chris is our winner. He takes home 12,000 pesos. Keenth has 6,000 pesos. And I want to thank Marimar for coming all the way here from Nueva, Vizcaya to join us. And I think you did pretty well, okay? You take home 2,000 pesos. Enjoy that. And of course, I hope you enjoyed your time here. Of course, Keenth, maraming salamat. Another journey all the way from the north, all the way from Baguio. You take home a good amount of cash with you. I hope you enjoyed that as well. And I hope you enjoyed your time. But of course, Chris, you'll be staying with me because right after this round, we'll come back for the bonus round. That's right, after a hard-fought round 2 and the money points you take home, our weekly winner graduates to the upcoming semifinals, as well as to this episode's bonus round for a chance to win an additional 30,000 pesos. We'll be right back with Bilyonaryo Quiz B. Philippine college stars are shining brighter each week on the Bilyonaryo Quiz B stage. You've already secured your place in next week's semifinal match, Chris. Well, you're now up to bat for our exciting bonus round. But before that, time to relax. How do you feel, Chris?
Nervous kasi 1 minute lang yung questions later. Pero
That's correct. We got to be quick. But of course, you already have 12,000 pesos. You can take home an additional 30,000, of course, if you are perfect in this round. So before we go to our bonus round and ask you to choose which category, let's listen into our mechanics. In the Bilyonaryo bonus round, our weekly winners face off against a 60-second clock to answer 10 questions worth 3,000 pesos each. Once a question is asked, the contestant can either take their time to consider their best answer, or they can say pass and move on to the next one. After that, the question is discarded and will not be asked again, even if there is time left on the clock. To begin the bonus round, our weekly winners must first pick one of 3 mystery categories. Let's hope they choose wisely. Let's hope they choose wisely. So here's your choice. We have 3 choices, 3 categories. I won't explain what they stand for or what we're looking for until you choose them. But just generally, there's some clues in the title. So is it pop quiz that you like, on the fly, or let's go lingo?
I think I'll go with pop quiz.
What do you think we're looking for in pop quiz?
Things na nagmimic ng sound na pop, ganun.
Let's see. Let's see if you're right. Now, this is what we're looking for. Pop quiz, these are questions about famous fathers. Kaya pop, papa, pop, famous
Okay.
fathers. Real or fictional, okay? Imaginary or true to life. And Filipino or foreign. Famous fathers, famous patriarchs. All right, if you're ready, let's go on to our first question. Time starts after my first question. Let's begin. By playing together in a regular NBA game, he and his son made basketball history. Who was his father? Basketball star.
Pass.
In a 1990 film, this infamous villain said, "No, I am your father."
Darth Vader.
Proud dad of 2 daughters named Malia and Sasha. US President.
Obama.
Legendary comedian who starred in the Tagalog film Wanted Perfect Father. Matagal na to.
Dolphy.
He loves donuts and beer and often says, "Do, do." Cartoon character. Loves donuts and beer
Simpson.
His offspring are Dino, who has the head of a dinosaur, and Galema, born with twin snakes and her neck like him.
Pass.
In the Bible, God told him that he would be the father of many nations.
Abraham.
His daughter Lila would also be hailed as one of the greatest female boxers of all time.
Pass.
Spanish crooner who married a Spanish Filipina. One of his sons recorded the hit song Hero and Bailamos.
Pass.
Time is up. Julio Iglesias. Julio Iglesias, and he had two famous singer sons, Enrique, and I think the other one was, forget the name of the other one, but he was Julio Iglesias, okay? Let's go to the other question you missed. We didn't get here, time was up. He's the father of Kiara, Princess Heir of Pride Rock in the Lion King universe. Simba. Simba.
Ay, oo nga.
All right, now the questions you answered, well, by playing together in a regular NBA game, father and son, LeBron James, okay? His son's name is named after him. In the 1990 film, No, I'm Your Father, Darth Vader is correct. Proud dad of Malia and Sasha, Barack Obama. Obama will give that to you. Legendary comedian who starred in the film, Wanted Perfect Father, Dolphy. Yes, correct, Dolphy. He loves donuts and beer and often says, "Do." You said, Simpson. Nah, I can't give that to you because there's a more famous Bart Simpson's also very famous. Homer Simpson is the answer. His offspring are Dino, Galema, born with two snakes and her neck like him. Zuma is the answer. And you were correct with Abraham. God told him he would be the father of many nations. His daughter Lila would also be hailed as one of the greatest female boxers of all time, Muhammad Ali. Lila Ali was also a boxer and one of the greats of her own time. All right, so you got 4 correct answers out of 10. That's still 12,000 pesos. Add that to your original 12,000 pesos in the elimination round. You're the math genius. How much?
24,000.
Not bad at all. 24,000 pesos. Amazing. Now, our last 3 weekly winners must continue to sharpen their wits and stay focused because our first semifinal match is happening next week. Of course, Chris will be part of that. If you believe that knowledge is our greatest asset, come meet them back here and cheer them on as they inch ever closer to 1 million pesos in our grand finals. But for now, thank you all for watching, and a big thank you to all our brave and brilliant contestants who showed up today. Thank you all, everyone. See you next week on Bilyonaryo
Quiz B.